If you remember from last time, I gave you a little preview about what is to come later in this trip. But before we get there, we've got to take a step back and start in Madawaska, headed towards Rangeley. While in Madawaska, I visited the Four Corners Park, and I headed back on Route 1 that would take me to Main 11, and I would spend most of the day on this great road. Route 1 would start off a little bit bumpy, but eventually I would make my way on to Main 11, and then everything smoothed out, and it was just a nice, relaxing ride. Not a particularly curvy road, but just beautiful scenery, a nice, relaxing day. So 100 miles down, stop for a pit stop at this rest area. Looks like everybody needs a break. Got under 200 miles to go now for the day. Just filled up with gas, so I have more than enough to get me in now. And it's filled up with water too, and then the bathroom here is out of order. Well, out of order. So I found a place in the back of their building. Let's face it, I'm getting old, and when you gotta go, you gotta go. So if these places that claim to cater to travelers don't want to supply bathrooms, well, you just need to make one for yourself. Finally, after a great day of riding on Main 11, I turned on Route 16 and started heading into Rangeley. All right, so here I am. I made it to Rangeley. Actually, it was a great day of riding. I think probably the best day of riding of the three that I've had so far. The roads were great. 16 was a bit bumpy, but other than that, it was really a nice ride. Coming up here, made it in pretty short order. Got here about 4 o'clock. Wrong room.
Oh, sorry.
So, I'm going to leave that in here. Guys, a guy from the room next door, I'm in 18, he's in 17. He just walked out of his room and then walked back into mine. So even with unwanted intruders, I still had a nice night in Rangeley, and I got up the next morning ready to head down to Dover, Vermont. I stopped at the Rangeley Inn on the way out of town for breakfast. Another great omelet. Having some good food on this trip. I know you guys love when I talk about my food. And it turns out they're having some kind of a parade here today. Lumberjack Days or something like that. So I need to get out of town before 10. So luckily it's about 9:30 right now. So I should be able to get out of here before the parade starts. On day 4, I would get to ride down one of my favorite roads in this area of the country, and that is Route 16. Unfortunately for me, a good portion of it was freshly paved. So about 73 miles into my day now. I stopped for a little break. I'm in Groveton, New Hampshire now. Day is turning out to be beautiful. You can see skies are blue with some light clouds up there. A lot of bikes out around here, which is expected because it is, of course, Saturday and it's a nice day. Again, on my way to Vermont. Now I'm in St. Johnsbury, Vermont, and I've got about 3 hours left to go. So from here, what my original plan was to go and take some really nice back roads through Vermont down to West Dover, where I'll be staying. But given the circumstances of all the rain and the flooding or road closures that they've had in Vermont, I think what I'm going to do is stay out of everybody's way. They're out there trying to clean things up, trying to get things back to normal. They don't need me traveling through all these little back roads. So I'm going to get on the interstate from here, and I'm going to head down the interstate for a while, and then we'll pick up Route 9 and then take that into Wilmington and eventually into West Dover. So it'll still be a nice day. I'm going to click the tunes on and just kick back. It turned out that the on-ramp to Route 91 was closed, so I had to follow Route 5 and a couple of spider riders for a while before I could finally jump on the interstate. Now, I'm going to say something here that probably won't be too popular, but I think it needs to be said. See, I've seen several people posting in various Facebook groups about wanting to go up to Vermont right now while they're having all of these problems, while they're trying to do this cleanup. It's like the only thing in the world that is important is your motorcycle ride. Well, these people, at least some of them, have lost their homes and lost their businesses. It's not just that the roads are closed. So until they can get this stuff cleaned up and get back on track, isn't the best thing to do to just stay out of their way? So hey, I almost forgot. I made it here to Dover, Vermont. I'm at the Mountaineer that, if you've been following the channel, you know I've been here many times. Place we keep coming back to. I am relaxing now. I got myself something to eat, and now just sitting down, relaxing, doing a little reading. And that's the way I'm going to finish off the day. The ride down was great. Even the interstate ride was good. The only issue I had was running into a little bit of traffic coming over the hill on Route 9 into Wilmington and West Dover. I haven't ever seen this many much traffic. I mentioned it to the proprietor here at the inn. He says, yeah, there's been a lot of traffic here lately. So I guess that's a good thing for the inns and things in the area. They're getting more people out here in the summer. Usually that has been a slow time in the past, so good for them. While I was in Dover, it turns out that one of my viewers, Jim, was also in Dover, right around the corner in another hotel. So we got to spend a little time chatting. Up to this point on this trip, I was really lucky with weather. I only had just a few minutes of rain on the preceding 4 days. However, on day 5, that was not going to be the case. All right, here we go. No getting around the rain today. And boy, was that ever an understatement. I would spend the next 4.5 hours riding home in some of the most torrential rains I have ever experienced, at least on the motorcycle. I can remember a few days back in Texas when it came down even harder, but there haven't been many. There were even a few sections of flooded road that I had to make my way through. The one that you see here, well, that was the easy one. Just before I hit this patch, I went through a section that was about 6 inches deep and threw up a huge bow wave all around my legs. Made it to Barre, Vermont, not Barre, Vermont, Barre, Massachusetts. I was up near Barre, Vermont. Anyway, I made it here to Barre, Massachusetts. It's quite the adventure out there riding today. It is really raining and everything is soaked, at least on the outside, keeping me dry pretty much on the inside. Getting a little bit in through my front zipper, and I think I've got some water in my right boot. It doesn't make me too happy, but I'm fine. After that brief warm-up, well, I continued on, and it got so wet that my GoPro camera stopped working. All right, guys, so I am home. You can probably see it and hear it out there. It had let up a little bit as I was finally getting here, but it's raining pretty hard again. It's been raining that way for, well, about the 4 hours that I've been on the road from Westover, Vermont back to my house here. And it was quite the adventure today, let me tell you. So anybody who says that road riding isn't adventurous, well, you're full of it. Today was pretty crazy. Some river crossings even, I didn't get the biggest one on camera, but I got something on camera we'll show you here. So anyway, I thought that since I was here and I really was riding through 4 hours of just torrential rain, I thought I'd give you a little bit of a gear review, right? How did all of this gear do in this really, really torrential rain? Because even the best gear has points of failure, right? All right, here, for example, these are Klim Vanguard Gore-Tex gloves. Fail. Right? They are completely soaked through. I'm gonna let Klim know about that. See if they do anything about it. But yeah, they are just completely all the way soaked through. That's the first time these gloves have ever failed me like that. But it was just absolutely torrential today. All right. The Latitude jacket overall did great. It's kept me pretty dry. Most of me is dry. The things that are a little bit wet is right near the center of my chest right here. I was getting a little bit of rain coming in through the zipper, so that's a little wet. My sleeves down near the end of my sleeves here, that's wet as well. What happens with these jackets is that the cuff on the jacket is not Gore-Tex lined, so that gets wet and it wicks water up into the sleeve a little bit in torrential rains like this. And of course also the glove itself was getting wet and getting water in there as well. So that's wet. And then the bottom of my shirt, of course, that again is near the bottom of the jacket that doesn't have any Gore-Tex in it. Again, that is wet. Other than that, I am completely dry on the inside. Now, unfortunately though, I can't say that about my boots. I haven't taken them off yet, but I know there's water in there. So those boots, the Forma Terra Evo boots that are supposed to have that dry membrane, they are completely soaked on the inside. And I mean, I did go through a few puddles, but mainly it's just 4 hours of rain and they started to leak. Now, I do have dry socks, waterproof socks on that are just completely soaked on the outside. So let's take them off and see how I did on the inside. Yeah, the waterproof socks, nope. That's from the inside and my feet are soaked. So anyway, I guess, you can't expect this stuff to work, 100% in this kind of weather. I mean, the Klim stuff overall I think worked really well, except for those points of failure that I've said that they have at the zippers and at the cuffs, the bottom of the jacket where there's no Gore-Tex. So I've known that for years. That's the case on both of my Klim jackets, that you're going to get a little bit wet there. But the bulk of you stays dry, so they did their job. Pants did their job too. The boots, that's a big fail. And those Klim gloves, those are also a big fail. So we'll contact the companies and see what they say about that. So that's it. Another successful trip. Total miles 1,328.7, and total miles on the bike 11,163. So I guess it's time to have another review. That'll be coming up soon.